In our world, 100 miles it's like cool and seems really far to people, and that's what drew so many people, including myself, to want to try it. It's sort of like when you're standing on the starting line, especially the first time you do it. Like I had no idea if I could even do it or how I was gonna feel, and I don't think anyone does.
It's super awesome for him that he came to his abilities that he has now so late in his career. So he definitely brings a passion and a curiosity to running.
I think people should be proud of what they've done and how hard they've worked to get their achievements in ultra running. It's a tough sport. Perhaps that's the nature of it. Because it's so tough, if you overplay your cards too much, then perhaps there's a tendency to go out too hard and fail.
I remember when I was training for Leadville, someone asked me oh, do you want to run Western States after this? And my response was, it depends how I do at Leadville. If I do really well at Leadville, then I'll target Western States. So I won Leadville, and I tried for a golden ticket in 2022 and had a terrible race. And I was just at the Tarawera 100K where I got my golden ticket.
So the Western States Endurance Run is the granddaddy of ultra running, really. I think they say this every year, but it's probably the most competitive field ever to assemble at Olympic Valley. So it'll be interesting.
Alan and I are sort of readers, not particularly athletes, and we produced these two boys that thought of nothing but sports, and that's all they dreamed about, and it's all they wanted to do.
Adrian is he's a very kind of level-headed guy. He never gets too high or too low, and I think that's very much reflected in his running style.
The thing that I think describes him the best is also what makes him the best and really good at what he does, and that is that he's just very calm and quiet usually, and very patient.
He's a very quiet person. I think he thinks deeply about everything.
He's not the loudest guy out there. He's very calm in his mannerisms.
On the surface, he'll be pretty calm, but he'll be calculating and doing all that stuff underneath. Yeah.
It's the same with the spreadsheets. Just he can look back at those races and have that data, and then when he gets on the start line, he can look back at literally every day and say, I did all the things that I possibly can to be good.
Each race has its own vibe to it that's unique, and I want to experience I like the Leadville vibe, but it's sort of a complete different one than what I think Western States will be. If you go down the road there's a little park in it. It says Applewood. That's why we call it that. Yeah. So one of the cool things I think about Applewood is that Quinn was a Mountain West 800 champ, and she trained here, and Andrew trained here when he was training for the World Championships in the marathon, and then I train here for 100-mile races. Just a neighborhood. Rolling hills are nice. Farms with horses and stuff. Quinn wants to have a farm out here someday. Morning. Andrew's always like there's a hilly way and an uphill way and a downhill way, but they both seem uphill and downhill. But this one's supposed to be 5 seconds a mile faster. I mean, it's just the first week back, and sometimes like before I'm fatigued, it's easier. So this one can go better than expected. So the first one was 5:37, then 5:29, that's downhill, then 5:32. I need to be careful because if I go too fast, my next workout will be harder. Yeah, so this was the first of a 15-week build. It'll be about 85, 90 miles total. Yeah, just trying to not get too excited. It's a long ways till the end of June. Western States it's like the original 100-mile trail race in the whole world.
It's the 100-miler, all the 100 milers that you see out there today. I don't know how many there are in the US today, but there are hundreds of them. Western States was number one. It's a race from Olympic Valley to Auburn along the course of the Western States Trail. It's a historic old pioneer trail from the gold rush days. And it's a race that involves running in the high country, sections through the canyons, and finishes in the endurance capital of America, Auburn, California. Like, I've run Western States 5 times, I've run Leadville 2 times, I've run Hard Rock a couple of times. And I think the hardest of those 3 races, these are 3 classic 100 milers in the US. People ask me what's harder, like Hard Rock or Western States. And I'll always tell them that Western States is a harder race than Hard Rock.
A lot of these races are just crazy ideas that people had, and now there are these huge events that everyone in the ultra trail world gets really excited about.
He just gets excited about like the possibility of doing something he's never done before. And even though he's now run like I think 4 or 5, maybe more 100-mile races, and all of them really well, he still is like super excited about running them hours faster.
Western States, you're running 95, 96% of that race if you have a good day. And you're racing hard, and it's a net downhill race. So there's something like 20 to 21,000 feet of downhill on largely non-technical terrain, so you're running hard. So it's super bruising on your quads, and you're dealing with heat, you're dealing with competition. It's a tough race. It'll chew you up and spit you out.
What gets me most excited about Western States is the long history of the race and all the great runners that have run there and the great runners that are going to be there this year, and I can test myself against them. I did run UTMB in 2023, and it was a similar situation, like testing myself against some of the best 100-mile runners in the world. But I think the Western States course suits my strengths better than UTMB at this point.
There will be challenges, whether it's small injuries or sickness or weather, anything. So that's what's most like cool to me, is just to see how he handles all of that. But yeah, it will be a journey. 15 weeks of thinking about one race is a long time, and there's a lot of pressure there, but I think it'll be good.
Yeah, so I met Adrian when he first moved out here to Fort Collins. I used to organize a workout west of town on what we call the dams. It was like a 5:30 in the morning workout. And then a few years ago, he decided that he was gonna jump in and try the trail thing, the ultramarathon thing. So he kind of hit me up for some advice. All right, Jaime, 110 kilometers.
I'm eating bread.
He's eating bread. Leadville was his race. That was the one that he targeted, which, you know, makes sense being local to Colorado, and paced and crewed him at a couple of those Leadville races, and he had great success, and, you know, the rest is history, as they say.
We're on the north summit of Horsetooth Rock.
Horsetooth Mountain Park.
We got Long's Peak over there, Redstone Canyon down there, and Horsetooth Reservoir, and then the city of Fort Collins. I usually come up here like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, 2 times probably on average. When I grew up here, been running and spending time on the trails my whole life. It's kind of born into this way, following my dad around. And then, yeah, I don't know, just been out here enjoying the mountains, enjoying the trails for as long as I can remember. I met Adrian in middle school sometime.
When he was in middle school.
I've been carrying a few injuries, but, you know, we used to run on, I think, Wednesdays up and down Horsetooth. But I guess Alistair stepped into my my position now.
I think we kind of more seriously ran with each other after I paced him at Leadville.
Yeah, every time we were going up the power line climb, which is between 80 and 85 miles, and every time I was hiking, he would just jog ahead. And so I'm like, oh shoot, I can't get dropped by Alistair.
That year, one of Adrian's paces, Jeff, kind of twisted his ankle pretty severely coming into Pipeline, so Alistair had to jump in last minute to crew from Pipeline to Outward Bound, and then crew through to May Queen, where I picked up Adrian into the finish. So that was kind of a fun handoff, Alistair to me to take Adrian into the finish. Yeah, so that was kind of a cool experience for him. But not new to Alistair, because he's paced me at races over the years and has watched me since he was, you know, knee-high to a grasshopper, like 3 or 4 years old, I think was Alistair's first ultramarathon experience.
Here with Adrian's pacer for leg 2 of the Western States Endurance Run. I needed somewhere to live and I hadn't looked, and it was like not long until I had to move. Yeah, so I found
20 days or something.
Yeah, something. And I found Adrian's post and I was thinking, oh, I liked the guys in the cross country and track teams in college. Like, you know, this will work out. It was good. I mean, I came from a house in California where 5 wrestlers living in it to having only 1 roommate. I was in heaven.
Right when we first started chatting when he moved here, he's like, I hate the stereotype that wrestlers are tough. This was before when I was going to run the qualifier to get into Leadville for the first time. I'm like, hey, I'm going to run this ultra marathon. Like, there's a bike race the day before. Do you want to come? And he's like, yes, I'll ride the bike race, and I don't want to wait around for you. So I'm going to run the race too. So he rode the 100K bike, and then the next day ran the 60K trail run without training.
I remember the first year, Jeff and I were like, all right, you know, we're going to the start, grabbing breakfast burritos, getting right to bed in the field and waiting. And we stayed up the whole time, just like talking to each other, like, oh my gosh, you think he can do it again? He's gonna do it again, right? We're gonna do it. And yeah, I don't know, it was a great time.
You know, I think he'll have a good team with him. He's good about picking his crews, and he thinks a lot about who is going to pace him.
I mean, that's pretty much the job of a pacer, you know, just keep him moving, keep him in the right headspace, keep him company. Yeah.
I mean, I've been watching all the crew and the pacers and the stuff, and it's just so exciting to be part of that.
My mom wants a job this year at the aid station, so I'll try and find something for her to do.
But I have found myself a job. So the biggest thing for Adrian at the end of a race is pizza. And the problem is getting the pizza after the race, which is usually late at night. So I think that's going to be my job and Alan's job. So we'll be following around with the crew and stuff, but then we'll peel off and get the pizza. Because if it's not there right away, things fall rapidly apart.
Literally anything that could go wrong does go wrong with your body 100 miles.
Yeah, there's always a new element to the race that sort of questions if you can do it. With Western states, it can get really hot. Sometimes in the later stages, over 100 degrees. And I've never raced in temperatures like that before.
It will be tempting with competing in a race this big to think like, oh, maybe I should do this differently, or I should add more mileage, or do what so-and-so is doing. So I think the biggest challenge will be to do what he's done and have the confidence in that.
The last time I ran a big race like this was UTMB, and I had a bad experience. So even though my more rational brain knows that I can run 100 miles really fast on this type of course, the fact that I had that bad experience at UTMB sort of scares me a little bit. Had coffee and some little snack. Would have been sort of slogging through the snow at Horsetooth, and I just wanted to run with friends. Hey. Hello.
You said that Fort Collins is like Boulder 2.0 or something. I do like shorter trail races, like Golden Trail Series style, kind of like sub-ultra stuff mostly. I just do what Andrew tells me to do.
So I have my coach, Andrew Epperson, he writes my training. He's in South Carolina, and he'll be writing my training and consulting with me the whole time. It's sort of a long, slow build that builds and builds until 2 weeks or 10 days before the main race.
Oh, well, so I had COVID. So I was banned to the cat room for the last 10 days. And Adrian didn't get sick, so it seemed to work. I cut her tail off. I did about 80% of it. Yeah. Then she got to sleep with Adrian with her cone on for a week. Something in this area is very messed up, and I cannot run at all. So I haven't been able to run with Adrian in 3.5 weeks, which sucks, but hopefully it will get better. Question mark?
First 3 weeks have been really good. The first 2 were the workouts were like pretty short, but then this week I
Is that
did six by mile, which is on the track, which is kind of a lot. And then it was like 10 miles of quality at Bacon Strip. Yeah, it's all been going really well. And I've been getting out on the trails on non-workout days. So.
I mean, he's just sort of total focus and his not giving up and sort of working through the bad times. And I'm proudest of what he's done with his running, really. And it's made him such a happier person. And that makes me happy.
He's constantly thinking about, you know, what if I could do this? What if I could do that? So just that excitement of like, he's only beginning this entry into ultra running, honestly.
I think this is a good race for Adrian, just because it's a running race. And it's exciting to see the success he's had at Leadville. And I think that does translate to Western States. So if he has a good day out there, his stomach holds together, his legs hold up from the pounding of the downhill, and he can run those last 20 miles solidly, I think he's going to have a great day. And I think on his best day, against the best competition in the world at Western States, I think he can get on the podium.